We all commit mistakes, but some cannot be reversed even if you want to. You have to face the consequences no matter what. In this video, we will see the top 10 dangerous kids reacting to life sentences. Number 10. In this clip, the teenager can be seen cursing and giving the victim's relatives the middle finger. When TJ Lane, a minor, was sentenced for the 2012 school shooting in Ohio, he appeared before the judge, wearing a homemade t-shirt with the word killer written in black marker. Lane appeared at his sentencing, where he was given a life sentence. TJ shot 3 pupils dead and injured 3 more when he was 17 years old. He was tried as an adult even though he was a minor at the time of the assault and received 3 life sentences without the possibility of release. There is, however, more to the tale. Many years after the assault, TJ managed to break out of jail. 8 days before his birthday, he and 2 other prisoners broke out of Ohio's Allen Correctional Institution. He used an improvised ladder to get out and get away. During free time, they used it to scale a fence. Authorities ordered locals to lock their doors as they began a statewide search. Both individuals were eventually caught. TJ was then imprisoned for 23 hours per day in a solitary cell. Number 9. Moving on to number 9. In this video, although this child's words are hard to understand, it is evident from his actions that he was pleading for forgiveness. It's difficult to watch. Some people make mistakes, but as a society, we cannot overlook the mistake he committed. Well, here we can see the 17-year-old John Freeman, who was expressing his regret to the victim's family after killing a 5-year-old daughter by strangling her. He was sentenced to 25 years to life in prison for a second-degree murder. This trial took place close to Buffalo County, where John Freeman admitted guilty to the charge. When John is 42, a court will decide whether or not he poses a risk to himself or to society, and if not, he will be released, hopefully having changed as a penalty. Many inmates who have served several years to life just aren't freed from prison. Number 8. We can see a young convict named Shondell Jackson in this video. He is present for his sentencing for the murder of a college student in the Milwaukee County Courthouse. Jackson, 18, and a companion were allegedly looking for victims when they noticed Potter exit a bar. The victim, Nathan Potter, was a 21-year-old student at the University of Wisconsin in Milwaukee. They pursued Potter and made money demands. However, when Jackson discovered that Potter had no money, things changed. When Jackson shot him, he died right away. Jackson, according to authorities, escaped to Mississippi the day following Potter's murder. Jackson was apprehended when it was claimed that his uncle gave the police a tip regarding his whereabouts. Jackson made gestures towards the victim's family while he was on trial, and when he was being led out of the courtroom, as shown in the video. Just before the sentencing, you can see him grinning when he sees the family. When the judge announced life imprisonment without the possibility of parole, Jackson had an outburst. While Jackson is serving life in prison without parole, his friend pleaded guilty to acting as the lookout and was sentenced to 12 years in prison. Number 7. The following video shows Brandon Spencer appearing in Los Angeles County Superior Court. He was accused of trying to kill 4 people. Spencer, a 19-year-old, went to a crowded party at the Los Angeles campus of the University of Southern California. All of a sudden, there was mayhem, as bullets were fired. People fled in terror while others hid. Spencer reportedly tried to flee as well, but he was stopped in a parking lot a half-mile away, where the LAPD took him up to be questioned. He was accused of 4 charges of attempted murder a few days later. Fortunately, no one lost their life despite the 4 injuries. The shooting resulted from a feud between Spencer and a rival gang member. Throughout the trial, Spencer insisted he was innocent, but the jury was not convinced. For 4 charges of attempted murder, Brandon received a 40-year to life sentence. Number 6. It cannot be a good trial when the person on the stand is named Manson. Manson Bryant was a career criminal who was found guilty of robbery, kidnapping, and an armed robbery in 2018. He testified on his behalf at his sentence and discussed how he made numerous poor judgments, how drugs had been involved, and how he was working to change. He thanked the court for its judgment and lauded the entire legal system. As the judge handed out a 22-year sentence, his attitude shifted. Bryant went into a rage and began tossing insults at the judge and the court. He yelled and cursed for a long period, including several F-words. For his troubles, the judge extended his sentence by 6 years. Number 5. In this next clip, you can see the kid named Dylan Shoemaker going under trial in a courthouse in Buffalo, New York. He's at his sentencing after being convicted of second-degree murder at the age of 16. Shoemaker was babysitting his girlfriend's child when she went to work that evening. He was inside a Springville home that he shared with his parents. Later that evening, Shoemaker beat the 23-month-old child, and as a result of the injuries, the young child died. Dylan Shoemaker would later be arrested and charged with the murder of the toddler, along with child abuse charges. According to his lawyer, Shoemaker was reportedly trying to get the child to stop crying, and he never wanted to hurt the child or for him to die. But the jurors did not buy it, and Shoemaker was convicted of second-degree murder. As we can see, when Shoemaker enters the courtroom, he starts crying and telling everyone how sorry he is before he can even get set up behind the defense table. When Shoemaker was awaiting his trial, he had a phone call with his mother, and the conversation ended up being recorded. Shoemaker was later sentenced to the maximum punishment with a minimum sentence of 25 years, but that sentence was later modified to 18 years to life. Number 4. This is Jennifer Mee in the Pinellas County Justice Center at 19 years old. She was arrested on charges of first-degree murder. She was accused of setting up a robbery with victims she had met online. She had reportedly recruited Lamont Newton, her boyfriend at the time, and another friend, Lauren Rofer, to help rob victims. Mee met up with a 22-year-old man she encountered online and lured the man to a vacant home where her two friends robbed and shot the man. They got $50 for the robbery and murdered him. Since they were all living together, they were arrested within hours of the crime. When Mee was in jail, she had a phone call with her mother where she admitted to her involvement, and the conversation ended up being recorded. The jury returned a guilty verdict, and Mee was found guilty of first-degree murder. She was sentenced to life in prison without parole. Number 3. In this next clip, we have an 18-year-old who was sentenced to 20 years in state prison for using a dating app to set up a robbery that resulted in a shootout. In the footage, you can see once the murderous mother finds out her daughter was just charged and sentenced to 20 years in prison, she freaks out and starts crying while heartbroken. Seeing her mother, the teenager starts to freak out as well. This one's really sad to watch. The teenager was then quickly taken out of the courtroom by police officers, and the mother was just left in there to just cry. She was so heartbroken, and anybody would be as well if they just found out that their kid committed a robbery and guns were used. They were sentenced to 20 years in prison. Number 2. This is Martez Fuller in Kenosha County of Wisconsin on trial. He is accused of killing his ex-girlfriend and attempting to kill her mother. Reportedly, the 15-year-old Martez Fuller broke into his ex-girlfriend's house armed with a handgun when she was listening to music in her bedroom. She was shot and killed. After hearing gunshots, her mother emerged from her bedroom and came face-to-face with the shooter. She got shot twice, but the mother would later survive the shooting and identify Martez Fuller. Fuller pleaded not guilty, but the jurors disagreed. After the jury found Fuller guilty on 3 counts, he showed what appeared to be emotion for the first time on trial. During his sentencing, he continued to maintain that he is innocent, and moments before he is sent to prison for the rest of his life, he put together a statement from the courtroom judge. As Fuller is being sentenced to spend the rest of his life behind bars, it appears that he's completely unfazed. Number 1. Trey Relford performed an act that stands out as the most exceptional in any case involving a killer being brought to justice. He hugged the victim's father, who was able to forgive the killer and embrace him in front of the judge despite losing his child. With that, we have come to the end of this video. If you like this video, then make sure to give it a thumbs up. For more videos, click on the links you see on the screen. We will come back again with more interesting stories. Until then, goodbye.